Welcome, boys. By the end of this video, we're going to have you hitting like a truck without swiping your credit card. First point, stop hoarding your materials. Obviously, don't use them on something you'll regret, but that's why I'm here. Help you make those right decisions. The easiest way to get more damage now is to upgrade your echoes. Now, what echoes to upgrade? Simple, there's three criteria. One, is it a yellow echo? Two, does it have the right main stat? And three, is it on the right set? Now, obviously, with the one I'm showing right now, it has crit rate, which isn't the ideal main stat. But here, we'll use fusion damage right here for an example on a fusion set. Now, there are two methods to upgrading your echoes. First is the common method that everyone uses, is to upgrade your echo in intervals of 5. Now, every 5 intervals, you will check what substat you roll. If it's a substat you like, you will keep rolling, so on and so forth until you get a subset you don't like, and then you stop. Now, the problem with this method is that, first of all, you're not maxing echoes out, and you'll go a long time before you have echoes level 25. Now, this method is the best method if you're looking for perfect echoes in order to save your materials. However, keep in mind, the echo grind is forever. The godlike echo is so rare that you'll almost never find them. So running with plus 20, plus 15, plus 10 echoes, you're going to be losing out on the main stats of your echoes for a long time. For example, the difference between a 6.4% attack versus a 15 or even a 15% fusion damage bonus versus a 25% or even 30% is a huge drop in your damage, and it's a huge missed opportunity. Now, the second method is my method, and it's one I would recommend to the filthy casuals. Now, usually what I do is the same thing as the first method. Go to plus 5, plus 10, and if you see stats you like, then I like to just bust my nut. If I see 2, if I go to plus 15, I see 3 stats I like, I max it, right? And I did that method all the way until I had a full set of plus 25 on all the characters I'm using, right? Now, the reason for that is simple, the main stat. And keep in mind, the most ideal stat you need is crit rate and crit damage, because that is the one stat you can control that will have the biggest contribution to your damage. Crit rate and crit damage are not valued the same as fusion damage bonus. Fusion damage bonus happens a lot sooner in the damage formula. Now, if you don't know how to calculate damage formula, or you want to see how stats are weighed, I will have a link to my damage calculation video at the end of this video, so make sure to watch to the end. However, going back to my main point, when you're going for your plus 5s and plus 10s, because crit rate and crit damage is so important, if I see crit rate or crit damage and then another decent stat or both, then I'm maxing it every day of the week, right? Now, you see here, normally on other people, if they saw this defense, they would have stopped. However, I kept rolling and I got some half decent stats. So again, there's two methods. There's the common method, it's the meta, and then if you're filthy casual, I heavily recommend at least get a set of plus 25 on all of your units for a gold echo with at least like 1 or 2 decent stats. Because you're a casual, you don't have the time that hardcore players have to grind out all these materials. And if you have your echoes maxed out, it'll increase your damage by at least 100% if all of your echoes are maxed out compared to if they're all at plus 5 or plus 0. And what your damage increase will do for your account is it will let you clear stuff faster. That way, as a casual, for the 1, 2, maybe even 3 hours you get to play a day, you're able to complete more content because you can kill things faster. Now, you might be asking, what if I do your method, right? And you get a roll that looks exactly like this one right here. You get crit rate, you get a half decent roll on the second one, and then you get defense, defense, attack. Now, you might stress about it. However, let me remind you, you can always replace it, and if you find a better one, you can feed this one to the other one, and you'll get a decent chunk of your materials back, right? You have to keep in mind, echo grinding is forever. You are just starting out. You do not need perfect echoes just starting out. Level 40, level 50, you do not need perfect echoes starting out. The echo grind is forever. Let me remind you again, it's forever. That is the end game. So, my recommendation is even if you get a roll like this isn't half bad. At the end of the day, that is 28% attack and almost 10% crit rate. I'm keeping this one and I'm going to finish flushing out the rest of my characters for the rest of my teams, get at least 1, 2 decent stats and just max them out. And then once I do that, then I go back and I start looking for those perfect rolls. Because you're looking for perfect rolls, that is very time consuming. Who knows, if you're super unlucky, it may be years before you ever find those god rolls. Now, there's a common misconception between casual players. Not all casual players, but I've seen enough of it where I have to vent my frustrations in a YouTube video. Where you'll see these casual players where they just don't get it, right? Where they'll have their fortes looking real nice. It'll be like this. Hell, they'll even farm to get these golden ones, right? For the 4% attack. However, their echoes will look like this. Some might have all yellows, just not upgraded, or maybe even +5. Or this is what I see the most, is they have purple echoes. They're level 40, you need level 40. They have all purple echoes at +10 each, but their fortes are maxed out. And they're like, well, echoes are RNG, fortes are not. Guess what? Let's say you have the worst luck and you get the worst substats on each of your echoes, but your echoes are maxed at 25 and they have the right main stat. That is more of a damage boost than your forte skills. Your forte skills, upgrading them, probably counts for at most 20%, maybe more, but I'm just giving you a rough number, 20-25% damage versus having a tier +0 echo, or I'm just going to say purple +10s, whatever, versus a +25 yellow echo. The main stats you get from that will guaranteed double your damage. It is crazy to think about. I don't even know an easier way to explain that, right? If you don't believe me, go check my damage video. However, each echo, look, 8%, 6%, 6%, 3, 4.5 versus, look at that, 22% crit rate. If it was crit damage, it would be like, I think it's 38%, 30% fusion damage, 30% fusion damage, 18% attack, 18% attack. That is 60% fusion damage, 36% attack, and if it was crit damage, it would be 38% crit damage. That is easily over 100% more damage just by upgrading echoes. Ignoring the substats, just the main stats alone is enough to double your damage. So again, build horizontally, don't build vertically. Build everything even, work on everything, and then you can work on verticality. You can work on perfecting everything. You can work on going past forte level 6 on your skills. Now, this is my last tidbit. I'm making a separate video right now after I'm finishing this video about team comps and what roles units play in teams and things like that. However, this is another way to boost your damage. Right here, let's use Sanwa for an example. If you don't know who Sanwa is, this is what Sanwa is. Outro skills. The main way units interact with each other is all through outro and intro skills, right? And sure, you can argue about how their kits synergize, whatever. The main way, the only way that units currently can buff other units is through their outro skills. Now, if you make your use of the outro skills correctly, you can get up to a almost 40% damage boost, depending on the boost, right? So, Sanwa, right here, auto attack damage amplified by 38%. Verena, your whole team's damage amplified by 15%. And if you haven't seen my damage calculation video, that is damage amplified, right? If it's damage bonus, that damage bonus happens at the beginning. It's basically equal to attack. However, if it says damage amplified, that happens at the end, next to crit damage. That is basically 15% crit damage that will always happen, no matter if you crit or not. That's how valuable that is. That is a huge buff. Outro skills are very important. Now, I will say, for sake of arguments, not every fight you'll be able to get your outro skills off perfectly every time. In holograms, the fight's very fluid. You will not be able to do perfect rotations all the time. However, it is important to know that your outro skills are very important. Now, this is my last piece for this video, and then I'll just cut it off here. Play the units whoever you want. If you don't care about clearing content, which most casuals won't, then at the end of the day, play whoever you want. But do me a favor, please at least work on upgrading your echoes so I don't have an ADHD attack. But if you are going to play whatever unit you want, or if you're just going to play whatever's meta, my last piece of advice is learn your character. Learn what moves parry, and learn how to counterattack after dodging. By parrying, you'll deplete the opponent's toughness meter, and that'll make them stagnant. When they're stagnant, they're not moving, and you have a, basically a bunch of free time to do damage. Just by having more free time to do damage will increase your damage overall. And also, learning how to counterattack after dodging. A regular attack versus a counterattack, the counterattack has double damage. So after dodging and immediately attacking, it will do double damage. But that's it. Thanks for watching all the way up until this end. I will be having the damage video linked somewhere around here. Might be covering my face right now. But don't forget to comment if you have any more tips for anyone else who might see this video, and don't forget to subscribe.